And welcome back. This is Yolanda. I am Yolanda and I am locating cozy. And here's the second part of the year in review of my pet sits. My first year of doing pet sits. Again, it was like maybe total almost 30 pet sits total, but a lot of but I think about maybe 4 or 5, or excuse me, maybe less than that, were actually regular repeats. So yeah, here we go. So when I got back from Fayetteville, I had a pet sit of, I think it was just like 4 or 5 days, of Charlie. Charlie was just one cat in this gorgeous little cute cottage house in Dallas, and it was great. Charlie, I walked in and Charlie was like, hey, what's going on? Let's talk. Let's sit down and talk about things. So Charlie was definitely a communicator and wanted the attention, and and got the attention. And yeah, that was a very easy sit. So yeah, just working through all those and making sure that I find great pet sits like Charlie, who are just really chill. And Charlie would go outside sometimes, and when he was ready to come back in, he would just come up to the door and meow and just be like, hey, I'm ready, it's time to come in. So yeah, he had a lot of personality. So after taking care of Charlie, I came back to Houston. I came back to Houston and I had one of my best pet sits, and that is Rosie and Bonnie. Rosie and Bonnie are the most the most well-mannered dogs. They're just the sweetest dogs. Oh my goodness. I will pet sit for them. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of dogs that I will definitely, family stuff that I will pet sit for again. But when it comes to just the best behavior, it is definitely Rosie and Bonnie. They have their routines. They follow commands very easily. I could tell them to go to their beds. They have a routine for whenever it's time for them to eat. Just the absolute best dogs. And I wouldn't, anytime, I literally saw that the owners had posted, because they thought I was going to be out of the country, they posted for like an upcoming pet sit in spring, and I was like, oh no, I'll be there. Like if I see that the owners need pet care for those dogs, I will like recheck my schedule just to make sure that if I'm available. I've done 2 sits for them. I have another one coming up soon, and I look forward to that. Their house is just awesome, but just everything that you need. But the care, the dogs themselves are just the sweetest dogs. And yeah, I give them little kisses on their forehead every time I feed them. They have their whole thing where they have to sit, and then they have to give you paw before they can eat. And I added on a little bonus where I just kind of kiss them on their forehead before they eat, because they're just so freaking sweet. So next I was headed up to Austin for a pet sit. I think that was the 3-week pet sit with Sophie and Sammy. And this was I love Austin. That's my place where I just want to go and just enjoy some, good food, maybe some good music. There is a jazz place. God, I can't remember the name of it right now, but there's a jazz place that's downtown that I really do enjoy. But Sophie and Sammy were awesome. Now, I will say this. It's very funny how sometimes the owners will tell you about all the personalities and don't do this, and make sure that you don't do that, and make sure that you do things this way or whatever. And I, for the most part, will abide by those rules. Whatever they have set up, I want to make sure that the pet is just as comfortable as possible. And I don't want to do anything that's going to negate whatever training that the owners have implemented. With that said, one of the rules that Sammy should never be touched on the back, like on the scruff of his neck back here. She was like, don't do it because he gets aggressive and all this. And also Sammy has a very specific chair that Sophie is not allowed on. Okay. So anyways, I take them out. They're great on leashes, and they're really, really sweet dogs. And I'll say Sophie is a bit mischievous, because that's the one that actually like chewed up my earbuds. That I'd had for like, I don't know, 2 years. And like I think the first or second day she literally just chewed them up, and I was like, what is going on? So but with that, Sammy was not to be touched. Of course, in the midst of just doing things, I actually touched her at the scruff of her neck back there, and I was of his neck, and I was kind of freaked out, like, oh my God, this dog is gonna, like, eat me. And after a while, I realized Sammy would actually come up to me and kind of like nudge me to touch the back of his neck. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm not supposed to touch you there. And yeah, Sammy was like, no, it's okay. It's fine, girl. Come on, do it. And so, yeah, so I did let the owner know. I was like, Sammy does not have any problems at all with me touching the back of his neck. It's like he actually kind of seems to want me to do it. And so, which she found odd. The other thing was that the chair, the recliner chair that Sammy slept in, I sent, because I would send the owner like pictures per their request. I always send like however many they want, at least like a set a day. But I sent a picture, and one was of Sophie in Sammy's chair and Sammy on the little bed right by the chair. And it completely threw the owner off. She was like, what is going on? Why is Sophie in Sammy's chair? And I was like, that's what they did. They just did it. It wasn't like some big conspiracy. She wasn't saying that, but it was just funny how she reacted to seeing Sophie in Sammy's chair. Like, she thought that all chaos was just going to break out if that happened, and nothing happened. I mean, they switched up all the time. There were several beds and areas for them to lay in, and that particular chair was of no consequence to either of them. Whoever was there first, that's who got it, and that was the end of it. So it's just always very interesting to, to feel the anxiety maybe that some owners might have regarding, how to care for their animals. And again, for all intents and purposes, I am going to do and abide by those rules, but some things just can't just happen, and then you find out that it's not as big a deal as you would have thought. Now, the other thing that happened with the dogs, they had the doggy doors, and I would open it up regularly and all that, and the owner had her bedroom and a little gym and bathroom and another office space all on the first floor, and then there was like another room on the second floor in the upstairs living area. There was a bedroom and a bath, and that's where I was staying at. So I didn't go into the little gym that she had. And, again, no big deal. But like a few days later, I'm getting ready to take them out, and I'm like catching a whiff from down the hall. I'm like, what is that smell? And I go in, and yeah, they have been pooping. I don't know who was doing what, but there was poop and pee all in there. She had like the little sponge things, the little floor mats or whatever. And so they had been pooping and peeing in there, and it was, So I had to like pick up all the floor mats, take them outside, rinse them off, clean them really good, clean the floor really good. Thank goodness, it was wood floors. But I cleaned up all of that. I don't know why, because they did not poop or pee anywhere else. I let her know, but she was none the wiser when she came back. Overall, great. I would pet sit for them again also. Sophie had this habit of, she liked to play fetch with tennis balls. So it was a bunch of tennis balls. But if the tennis ball got like even a quarter of the way, like barely under the coffee table, Sophie was like, I can't get it. You need to, and she would just start barking at me to get the ball. And I'm like, dude, it's right there. Like, you could just like take your paw and get it, just like that. And she would not. She would just bark, and I would just like look at her, and I walk away, because unless it was like clearly way up under the table, someplace where she couldn't get it, then I would be like, okay, we're gonna do this. But no, she wanted like, she was a little bougie something. Okay, yeah, she wanted me to just like reach down to a ball that was just barely under the table. So after that, I came back down to Houston. I had the pleasure of taking care of Percy, Archie, and Phoebe. And this was a really cool pet sit, because one, they were cats. There was 3 cats. The house was very nice, and also it was cool because the owner actually would like just take off and do pet sits just because stuff. So she would take off because her husband traveled a lot. So she was like, I just want to be able to go and do things. So she would actually go do pet sits in other cities that she just wanted to go to. So then she would need a pet sitter. So I was actually sharing with her some of the things that I do as a pet sitter, like exchanging ideas, tips and tricks of the trade of pet sitting, especially traveling pet sitter. And so she was just very, very nice. And I had a great time with the cats. They were huge cats. 2 of the cats were siblings from the same litter. And then there was, I think it was Percy? No, Phoebe. I think Phoebe was the one that was, I can't remember which one is which now. I think it was Phoebe that was the one that was like, I'm not talking to you at all. It's like the little crazy looking cat. Yeah, that came out just every now and then. And every group of cats, anytime I'm taking care of cats, there's always one cat that is like, where have you been all my life? I want all of your attention. And there's always another cat that's like, I don't want to know you. And if I do, you'll barely see me, and I might honor you with my presence. Yeah, always. And so there was no difference there. And yeah, it was great. The home was wonderful. I love it when owners actually, I come in and their home is clean, and then when I leave, I make sure that I leave their home just as clean as when I got there. And yeah, it's a gorgeous house. After that, I ended up going on another pet sit right after of 3 more cats. And so I was taking care of I ended up taking care of Jack, Belle, and Max. And there were 3 cats again. I think it was Jack that came in immediately. I can't remember which. I know their face. I can't remember their name. But yeah, one cat, as soon as I walked in, was like, hey girl, we're going to be friends. Yes. And so, it's funny because some people, are very adamant that they won't take care of cats. They're the easiest pet sits, quite frankly. I mean, you have to scoop the litter and, check to see if there's fur or cat hair or whatever. But overall, great pet sit. The only issue I had with that was that place was not, the home was not as clean as the previous homes. And it was just the kitchen. It was just like, I had to do a nice little cleaning of that home in the kitchen area before I would like cook anything. And anything that I brought out, I just made sure everything was washed up and everything. But, it happens, I don't think it was anything intentional. I think maybe they were just getting ready to go on this trip, and, things slipped through through the cracks as far as making sure that everything, like your entire checklist, was done. But I will say this, that after my whole that stupid elevator, and when I was in California, and I'd much rather do that than walk up, just complaining about the elevator because it was so small. Being in another home that was 4 stories, I kind of missed that elevator. I was like, oh, it would be really nice if there was an elevator, because this home did have 4 stories, and there was kitty litter boxes on each floor, so I had to go up and clean those regularly, and that was a bit challenging. Yeah, Autumn is in the background over there, and Finley wants to play. So, and Autumn is 12 years old, and Autumn's like, I don't want to play. So anyways, so that was a challenge. So after that, I had the pleasure of taking care of Theo and Patty. And Theo and Patty are actually dear to my heart because they are my best friend's dogs. And so, yes, my best friend was going out of town, and she was like, and she's a person that I actually, in between pet sits, I'm going to do a whole video about what happens in between pet sits, but I actually stay at her place a lot when I'm in between pet sits since I gave up my apartment a year ago. So whenever she goes out of town, I am taking care of her dogs. I don't care. If I'm available, I'm taking care of her pets, because she has, graced me with the use of her home in between pet sits. And besides that, I love Theo and Patty. They're awesome. And so those are my babies, and they don't even bark when I come there anymore. They're like, oh yeah, Yolanda's here. Hey girl, what's up? And so yeah, they're just my little sweeties, and yeah, I've taken care of them. I think I did this pet sit in October, and then for Thanksgiving, I also took care of them again while my bestie and her boyfriend went out of town. So I always have fun, and it's just great to be able to hang out with them. So after Theo and Patty, I got to take care of Stanley. Stanley has man face. His face is so distinctive, it is just overwhelming how weird it was. Stanley is a sweet big doodle dog, like a shepherd doodle. I don't know what he is. I'm not sure. Sheep doodle? I'm not sure. I should have what kind of dog it is, but I don't know. But Stanley has man face, and just a very, very different. Like, he's looking at you like he's saying, you know what I want you to do. Now I need you to do it. It's very intense. So the owners there, I think, I was a little bit still scarred by my experiences with Shyla and with Anna in San Diego, with being pulled. And Stanley was a big dog. Now, initially the owners did say, she was like, you know, you can just play fetch with him inside the gated area here, and you don't necessarily have to take him for walks. But I definitely wanted to take him for walks, so I did take him on like maybe 2 walks. I think it was only like maybe a 4-day sit. I think it was just a 4-day sit. And I took him like on a walk twice, like long walks. But I felt him getting kind of aggressive with when other dogs were coming by. So I think I did like maybe probably like a mile long walk one day, maybe like a half a mile another day. And then after that, I was just like, no, I don't need you because you're a big dog. So I was just really concerned about him really snatching me up if he saw like a dog that he felt like he needed to get aggressive with. And so since the owner had already said so, you know, that it wasn't necessary, I just opted to not take him on any longer walks. After that, Stanley was a sweetheart. He was a very good dog. I played fetch with him. I threw horribly, and I actually threw 2 of his toys on top of the roof of the neighbors next door. I did tell the owners about that, but yeah. Okay. So next I had to go up to Dallas because I had 2 pet sits up there that were like back to back. One was Hobbs and Susie, and they are, oh my gosh, I can't remember the type of dogs they were. They were Korean Jindus. Yes, I remembered. Yeah, I think I posted a video. Maybe I didn't. I think I have a video that I need to post about my experience there. But overall, these were great dogs. So Hobbs was the older dog. Hobbs was like, I think about maybe 9 years old, and Hobbs was very set and calm. And then Susie was Susie was like 2 years old. So just driving everyone crazy. Just literally just hyper, you know, just being a dog. But Hobbs was just like, get off me, I don't want to play with you right now. Very, very good dogs, but just you have to make sure, of course, you have a younger dog, you have to make sure that you expel that energy. So they were really great on their leashes, and I was able to take them out and take them for nice long walks, and they were not aggressive around other dogs. Yeah, they were just really, really good dogs, and I really enjoyed them. And again, this was like right like in uptown Dallas area, so I was able to step out and go out and enjoy, and you know, step out for a while and then come back and take them for walks and do things. And they were just really, really good dogs. Now, the owner did bring the crate downstairs to the guest bedroom, but again, I sleep on the couch. So, and I did bring my own like bed linen and things like that because I know I sleep on the couch. But the crate was downstairs, and the crate was a little heavy, but since I wasn't sleeping downstairs in the guest room, I brought the crate upstairs to the 2nd floor in the living room area, and that crate was heavy. The crate was heavy. And then once I did do it, because she said he said that's where they put Susie, the younger one, at night. And yeah, or Susie goes in there and lays by herself. Susie didn't go in there. Susie was on the couch with me. Yeah, Susie was like, no, I'm not doing that. So after that, I went to go take care of Shasta and Nala, 2 cats. This is another one of my favorite pet sits, just because Shasta and Nala were a bonded pair, and they played together so much, and they would just lay together. They were bonded, and just their personalities were just next level. Whenever I just enjoyed seeing them playing, and just, you know, I whenever I would go to the grocery store for anything, I'd make sure that I would get like a paper bag, like the groceries in a paper bag, and then I would just set it out, and they would just get in there, and that was just their toys, their fun, their entertainment for the entire, I think I was there for 2 weeks. Yeah, I was there for 2 weeks, and yeah, that was one of my favorite pet sits. I think I took the most pictures of Shasta and Nala just because they just had the personality and just laying around and just, you know, they were sleeping together, you know, they would like cuddle up together or just be really right side by side with each other. Until they weren't. And then they were just like, nope, I don't feel like playing with you right now. And they would then go in their, you know, separate rooms. But overall, they were just really, really entertaining. And then last but not least, which I actually am about to post, I don't know if I'm going to post this before or afterwards, but Turk and Dixie was my last pet sit. They were my last pet sits of 2023. And they were up in North Houston. And they were, Dixie was a little, Dixie was bossy. Dixie wanted things. Dixie would beg for food. Dixie was also diabetic, so that was my first time ever injecting a pet, and I accidentally stabbed myself with the pin, with the needle. I didn't inject myself or anything like that. It was just like before I actually stuck her, I accidentally stuck myself in. I'm having flashbacks from months ago. But yeah, it was fine. But that was a great pet sit, beautiful home, nice pool. But yeah, that was my last pet sit of the year, and they were just the sweeties. So yes, I want to say that my favorite, I was just thinking about my 3 favorite pet sits, and again, would be Bonnie and Rosie. Just the absolute most well-mannered, well-behaved dogs. Shasta and Nala, they are just the best cats with the best personality. And my other, one of my other favorite pet sits was when I had taken care of Hochi, Basil, Purdy, and Sal. Purdy and Sal, the turtles. Again, such personality. I never knew that I would be so entertained by turtles. They were amazing. I loved taking care of them. And literally, I would just go in the room where their aquarium was and just like, you know, they knew when I came in. It was just the personalities of both of them that I just never thought I'd see in turtles. So, woo, okay, I made it through, and I'm glad I decided to make this into 2 videos or 2 vlogs, because yeah, that's a lot of a breakdown for 1 vlog. So yes, this is definitely 2 vlogs, and I'm glad. Thank you guys for sticking around and watching me talk about my review of all the pet sits that I did from the time I started in November, Thanksgiving 2022, up until the end of the year. Now, of course, I'm on this new pet sit, my first pet sit of the year, here with Finley and Autumn, but I'm not going to include them in the reviews. I'm going to do another review just for them anyways, and you know, of course, just being in Puerto Vallarta, so yeah, I got to. But thanks for joining. I hope that you guys have just really thoroughly enjoyed seeing pictures and hanging out with me as I talk about all the wonderful pets that I've cared for. Please make sure that you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when I do post new content. And I'm about to go meet some of my Puerto Vallarta friends for lunch and have me a good margarita. And you guys